Right now, most of the synapses in your brain are completely silent, not damaged, not broken, just waiting. And we have no idea what they're waiting for.
So here's the setup. The human brain has roughly 100 trillion synaptic connections. That number gets thrown around a lot. But what doesn't get mentioned is how many of those connections are essentially dormant at any given moment.
And when we say dormant, we don't mean resting between uses.
Yeah, right. These are silent synapses. Structurally complete connections that don't transmit signals because they lack the receptors needed to receive them.
So the wiring exists. The hardware is there. It's just not plugged in yet.
Yes, exactly. A 2023 study out of MIT put a real number on this for the first time. In young brains, up to half of all synapses may be silent. Even in mature brains, a significant fraction never fires.
And this flips almost everything we thought we knew about brain capacity, because we've been measuring the brain by what it does. But the real story might be everything it's holding in reserve.
Let's get into the mechanism, because it's genuinely strange. A typical synapse works by releasing a neurotransmitter, glutamate, say, which binds to receptors on the receiving neuron. Silent synapses have one type of glutamate receptor, NMDA receptors, but they're missing the other type, AMPA receptors.
At no AMPA receptors, no signal gets through.
Yes, right. The NMDA receptors are there, but they're blocked by magnesium ions at resting voltage, so the synapse looks complete but functionally does nothing.
This is like having a door with a lock but no keyhole. The door exists. You just can't open it yet.
Until the right conditions hit. Strong, repeated stimulation causes those AMPA receptors to get inserted into the synapse. Suddenly, the connection activates, permanently.
Yeah, and that's actually what learning is.
Yes, at the cellular level, yes. Long-term potentiation, LTP, is largely the story of silent synapses waking up.
Say it. So every time you learn something genuinely new, you're not just strengthening existing connections. You might be switching on connections that have never fired in your entire life.
Which raises an uncomfortable question. How many of those connections never get activated at all?
And this is where it gets weird.
This is where it gets very weird. Because the leading theory isn't that silent synapses are leftovers or errors. They might be intentional. A reservoir.
That the brain keeps spare capacity pre-wired, waiting for experiences that demand it.
And childhood is when this reservoir is largest. Young brains are flooded with silent synapses, far more than adults, which could explain the critical period phenomenon. The reason kids pick up languages, instruments, and motor skills at rates adults simply can't match.
As they have more switches available to flip.
And as we age, synaptic pruning eliminates unused connections. The ones that were never activated get cleared out.
Find, use it, or lose it at the most fundamental level.
What's still unknown is whether adults retain meaningful numbers of silent synapses and whether they can be resensitized, brought back online under the right conditions.
Some neuroscientists think psychedelics, deep learning states, even certain types of trauma might temporarily flood the brain with something like a reopening of that window, flooding the system with AMPA receptor insertion.
That's speculative, but it's not wild speculation. The mechanism exists. The question is whether it's reachable.
Your brain has been building infrastructure your whole life that you may have never used. So what does this actually mean going forward?
There's a few things. First, it reframes cognitive decline. If the story of aging brains is partly a story of silent synapses being pruned before activation, then the intervention window is earlier and different than we thought.
It's not about protecting what you have. It's about activating what's waiting.
Second, it has implications for neurological recovery. Stroke, TBI. Some of the plasticity we see in recovery might literally be silent synapses in adjacent regions waking up to compensate.
And for AI, models inspired by sparse activation, where most weights sit idle until the right input arrives, that might be closer to biological reality than we realized.
Yeah, we built artificial neural networks thinking we understood biological ones. Turns out we were only modeling the loud part.
And most of the brain was always whispering. Oh, millions of switches, most of them unflipped. I find that either terrifying or thrilling depending on the day.
And today it's thrilling.
I'm Nova,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Code and Cosmos.